Good evening, folks. Happy Sunday. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Tonight, let's talk about the Anthony DiMaggio investigation by the Westchester County DA. Why did Mimi Roca's office pay him a visit?
My dad's Freddie Vasquez. You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddie Vasquez.
Good evening, folks. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Tonight, Anthony DiMaggio speaks. What's going on? The Westchester County District Attorney is investigating Anthony DiMaggio. Right, folks? Why? Did you guys get to catch the live that Anthony DiMaggio did earlier? He did a live earlier, 10 minutes. I shared it on my page. Hopefully you got to check it out. And then, I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Happy Sunday. Sorry about the delay. Just before I came on, I had something I had to do. Really quick, but I apologize. I'm on. Anthony DiMaggio was recently had the Westchester County DA's office, the district attorney's office, pay him a visit. And now there's an investigation, right? They removed his guns along with his dad's guns. They took all the guns that were in the home. And so Anthony DiMaggio posted a on Facebook, and someone sent me the post, but then I was confused because I said, but Anthony, they took away your guns. Let me read the post. This is the post that Anthony DiMaggio shared after the DA's office paid him a visit. So as I've indicated on some other platforms, I've been thinking about going live, which he did today, with the StreamYard software using Facebook and YouTube to talk about matters that are relevant not only to me in my ongoing war with some dirty cops and elected officials, but also about the city of Yonkers, fatherhood, life in general, and of course, current police headlines. I think this weekend may be as good a time as any. I've been talking, and finally my talking has gotten loud enough to grab Mimi Roca's attention. Mimi Roca is the Westchester County District Attorney. That's right. Today, a team of extremely professional and polite investigators from the Westchester County District Attorney's Office came to my doorstep to tell me in person that Mimi is launching an investigation into the events that took place from January 28, 2020 to February 12, 2020, when the clown-faced creep, current MTA police chief and former Yonkers police commissioner, John Mueller, orchestrated and brought to life a fraudulent family offense petition that kept me away from the love of my life for a full year. And he's referring to his daughter. It is a joyous day, folks. As somebody in a position to bring the reality of this sick and dangerous man to light is actually going to take a look. Be on the lookout for the Unfit LT going live soon, if not this weekend, then maybe next. And so, again, that's Anthony DiMaggio, former Yonkers police lieutenant, if you don't know, was a Yonkers police officer for 15 years, and then he was terminated. He was fired. And according to Anthony DiMaggio, he was terminated over an incident that took place one night when he was on duty. Actually, he wasn't even supposed to be on duty. He took someone else's shift on his day off, and an incident happened. He didn't like the way detectives, one of them being the mother of his daughter, handled the situation. He felt that they were supposed to be the ones taking over and investigating the situation because it involves an assault with a gun. And instead, the two detectives, again, one including the mother of his daughter, left without letting him know, and he didn't appreciate that. And so he reached out to their boss, Detective Sergeant Lou Venturino, who has since retired, and that set off a chain of events that led to his termination. And now he's no longer employed by the Yonkers Police Department, and he's also has had his pay and pension taken away, so he's no longer receiving any income from the city of Yonkers, and he's also had to have his daughter taken away from him, or he was not allowed to see his daughter for a better part of a year. And so this has been an ongoing thing with Anthony DiMaggio, and he's been on my podcast. All right, we started having an Anthony DiMaggio series where he would come on almost every Friday, and he began talking about his situation. And we shared videos, we shared text messages, documents. He's talked about the clinic that he was referred to as part of his agreement with the Yonkers police, because initially they didn't want to fire him, or they weren't going to fire him. They sent him to a clinic in Hartsdale, and it's called IMA. I don't know what the letters stand for exactly, but he went there, according to Anthony DiMaggio, and according to the documents that he showed. The psychologist created this narrative that went against Anthony DiMaggio, that portrayed him as someone that may be unstable mentally and was not fit for duty, which is why he calls himself the unfit LT, right? It's kind of in a mocking way. And ever since then, he's had this war, as he says, with the police department, the city of Yonkers, corrupt police officers, and corrupt elected officials. So recently, he had the Westchester County District Attorney's Office pay him a visit, but according to Anthony DiMaggio himself, actually, it was not for the reasons he stated on this post. The reasons were because of text messages that he has sent to the mother of his daughter, right? A current Yonkers police detective who heads up the cold case division of the Yonkers Police Department. And he's had, this, I don't know what it is really, many people, and if you didn't watch his live, have said, according to Anthony DiMaggio, that the mother of his daughter, the current detective, is a POS because of what she did to Anthony DiMaggio, right? If you followed it, if you haven't followed it, the mother of his child gave his bosses, including John Mueller, text messages that he has sent her, conversations between the two. And they used that along with the psychologist report to deem him unfit for duty. And so they put him on desk duty, and they wanted him to sign a document stating that he would not sue in order to keep his job, and he would not sign. So he was terminated without his pension, no money for an attorney, was having trouble getting an attorney to sue. And I believe he may have recently hired one or contracted the service of an attorney to move forward with his case. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with that, because again, he has not been on for a while. But again, text messages, once again, are the reason why Anthony DiMaggio is now being investigated by the Westchester County DA. According to Anthony DiMaggio himself, he sent text messages in regards to John Mueller, and they were threatening messages, right? And John Mueller is currently the head of the MTA police. He's the top guy over there at MTA. He is a law enforcement official. And so if you're sending threats in regards to the commissioner of the MTA police, that's going to be a problem, right? That's going to be a problem. So once again, the mother of his child, upon receiving these text messages, went and showed them or sent them to John Mueller, who then showed them to whoever he had to show them to, which sparked this investigation, which is why they removed his guns. because of threats, right? And so I didn't think that that was the smartest thing to do. I mean, I said, Aunt, what are you thinking? I mean, you know, you're the mother of your child better than I do. She's given him text messages before. This is what they're saying. They're saying you are unstable. You have, some aggression, aggression issues with aggression, I should say. You could be violent, according to certain individuals. You have sent violent or threatening text messages to the mother of, your child before. And so I said, why would you do this? It's not going to help you. It's going to make, them look right. And according to Anthony DiMaggio, this is part of a strategy. This is part of his way of getting Mimi Roca's office to investigate what had happened between him and Mueller and the Yonkers Police Department, as well as elected officials. So basically, he knew that the mother of his child would send these text messages over to John Mueller. He's in law enforcement 15 years. He understands the protocols and what would happen. He knew that an investigation would be triggered by doing this, which is what he wanted. He wanted attention from the Westchester County DA so that then he can hopefully get what he wanted, which is what he posted on a couple of days ago on his page, an investigation into his termination. Well, is it going to work? It's a risky move. I don't know if that was smart. If it works, I said it's genius, risky move, but I don't know. Will that work? Or will it hurt him even further? Will it only just, validate what the Yonkers Police Department, what the psychologist has, said about him, what others who side with the city of Yonkers and the police department have said about him? Is it going to help him or is it going to hurt him? Is this going to help him get what he's looking for? Yes, you gambling, you rolling the dice, but you have to understand, who the individuals are that you're dealing with, right? Mimi Roca, the Westchester County District Attorney's Office, she has a good relationship with the current administration. She, was helped here in Yonkers by the current administration and members of the Yonkers Democratic Party in getting elected. In fact, I think that she, kind of owes and will, side with, the administration here in the city of Yonkers, officials here in the city of Yonkers, more so than may side with you. Right? I mean, the DA's office has been sitting on this Mike Cater investigation. I mean, let's just be honest. We know that was political. It's politics, right? It's the game. Nothing has been done. 2 years. Did she consider looking into what Mike Cater said, the allegations that Mike Cater has made in his lawsuit as a result of the investigation that was launched into him first? No. No one's mentioned anything besides basement politics of the allegations made in Mike Cater's lawsuit. Right? So it's a risky move. It's a gamble. I don't know if I would have made that move, but that's what you felt you had to do. I want to play a little bit of your live here, in case people didn't see it.
Hey everybody, looks like I'm live. I hope I am anyway. The software is telling me that I am. As I said on Facebook a couple of times this past week, messing around with the software for the StreamYard, the StreamYard software, a little bit the same stuff that Freddie Gasquez uses. My friend Freddie, I haven't been on in a while with him. Definitely a lot of stuff going on in the month or so that I haven't been on with him. And there have been some posts about that, and I'm definitely going to give some more details about that coming up. I'm trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to do it because, if I have to do it myself, then I want to familiarize myself with the software a little bit more so that, I can really do it right, because the information has to come out properly, and it has to be well presented. I want to show some slides. I want to show some, the way I used to do with Freddie, text messages, things like that. So there's a lot of information that I want to get out, and I want it to be done right. So if I'm going to end up doing it myself, then it's going to be a little while still, because I have to familiarize myself with the software. I did speak to Freddie. I saw that he posted something earlier. Maybe he's intending to go on live at some point tonight and talk about the post that I made on my page the other day. The post about a team of Westchester County investigators coming to my house to have a discussion with me. Now, I took a little bit of artistic license with the facts, but ultimately what I posted, that's the way I believe it will end, if not begin. Like I said, definitely going to get the details out one way or another. I would like to see what Freddie says tonight. I'm really in no shape to join in with him live and do a whole podcast, because I'm just a really mean case of double pink eye.
So Anthony says that he's admitting it there that, he took some artistic, I'm not sure what else he said, but he basically took it upon himself to kind of be creative with what actually happened, what the investigation is actually about. But he believes that in the end, it will be the way that he has posted it on Facebook, that Mimi Roca will actually begin to do an investigation into John Mueller and some of the things that he was doing while commissioner of the Yonkers Police Department, or maybe what he had done specifically to Anthony DiMaggio in getting him terminated from the Yonkers Police Department. Will that be how it ends? Will that be the case? Right?
Maybe some of you can still see it in my eyes. I mean, a few days in the spin, it was the worst case of pink eye I've ever had. I'm going to be watching. Maybe I'll drop a couple of comments. But I haven't really spoken to him. I haven't given him any details about exactly what's going on. So most of what he says will be from, like he said, sources that he has up at City Hall, I guess. I guess they'll give their version of what's going on. But it is very juicy and interesting. I kind of crossed the Rubicon with some of the steps I took to try to get the story into some of the rooms where it can be investigated properly. So that's all I really want to say about that for now. What I do want to add before I go off is, the PBA picnic was, I think, yesterday.
Really quick, he's going to mention about, and I can tell, and I said this before, I said, Anthony DiMaggio, I can tell that you care a lot for the mother of your child. I mean, hearing what he said was done. I don't know how I would feel, but I'm not in his situation. But you can tell that he really cares about her, and he wants people to understand that it's not her fault, and he doesn't want people looking at her like a POS, right? So, it's a
couple of phone calls and people basically shitting on my kid's mother. She's going around showing text messages to people and bad mouthing you. And, what I always tell people is, especially people who don't know her too well, I say, look, obviously she's a pain in my ass, but she's not a piece of shit like you're saying that she is. I could see, you not knowing too much about what went on and everything. You might get that impression, but she's not. She's a good woman. She's a good mother. And, as far as the initial beef that started this whole big thing between me and the Yonkers Police Department and Spanos and all this, I wasn't entirely without fault. What the clown face creep John Mueller ended up doing, the direction he ended up going with, it was totally insane, because that's just who he is. But as far as the initial dispute, I was not totally without fault, and I put her in a bad spot because of the position that she was already in, the way she wanted to go with her career. I should have known better. I should have known that she was in line for a special assignment, because when you're a cop, in police culture, in police departments, everybody knows that there are two types of cops that you don't want to get embroiled into anything controversial with. Those two types of cops are, one, probationary police officers. basically rookies, cops that are still on probation. Probation meaning that the department can fire you at any time without cause. They don't have to give you a reason. They can just decide that you're not cut out for this life, and they can say thanks but no thanks. Okay. The second type of cop you don't want to get embroiled in anything controversial with is a cop who has tenure but is in line for a gig. He's in line for a special assignment that cop very badly wants and feels that he or she has earned. Now, the reason you don't want to get embroiled in anything controversial with either of those two types of cops is because their ambition, in the case of the probationary cop, that cop's ambition is to keep his job. In the case of the cop waiting for a gig, that cop's ambition is to get the gig that they're in line for, that they're maybe competing with other cops for, that maybe they feel that they're a front runner for, okay? Those kinds of cops, those two kinds, can be leaned on to say anything that somebody higher ranking than them wants them to say about you, okay? So in other words, if somebody high ranking in the department is out for your ass and has this leverage of being able to decide whether or not that person, that cop, gets the gig that they want, well, you're in a lot of trouble. Because when the high-ranking person says to that person who's in line for a spot, guess what you're about to do? Well, more often than not, that person is going to do it, especially if they feel like you jeopardized their pending assignment by making some sort of a stink that you had no reason to make. It was something that I forgot that night, that I had this dispute with Louis Voicemails, her boss, and all hell ended up breaking loose. I forgot that she was in line for cold case. It was an enormous mistake that I made, okay? Because like I said, everybody knows you don't get embroiled in something controversial with those two kinds of cops. So I put her in a terrible spot. Now, a lot of the shit that she did afterwards really surprised me, and I've spoken about that a lot. Maybe I'll speak about it some more. But, I don't want anybody thinking that she's, some sort of just evil rat or chivata, or, you can say it in any language that you want. I wasn't without fault. So back off of her. I'll say what I say about her, and no need to draw any conclusions about her outside of what I say.
So Anthony DiMaggio does not want you to look at the mother of his child, current detective who heads the cold case division, in any negative way. He is taking some responsibility here by saying that he should have known. He should have known the beef or the war that he has with the Yonkers Police Department and the Spanos. He was not totally innocent. He should have known. He takes some responsibility in that. And the reason why he takes responsibility is because the mother of his child was wanting to get the gig of cold case, head of cold case. She wanted that assignment, and she would be willing to do anything to get that assignment, right? He says that he should have known better because there are two types of cops that you don't get embroiled with, right? That's a probie who's looking to secure his job as a police officer and will do and say anything to do that, and a tenured officer who's looking for an assignment that they have been wanting forever, a juicy assignment, as he says, a gig. In this case, it was the cold case division, the mother of his child wanting that position, wanting to head that department, that assignment. And so she was willing to do whatever it took to secure that. And that's what she did. And he should have known better than to put her in that position, to put her in a position where she either had to choose the career of the father of her child or her career and new assignment. And he shouldn't have not put her in that position, and he's wrong for that. She ended up choosing her career, her assignment, and she gave them text messages that they used against him. Some people say we have not seen all the text messages, that some of them are very, violent, show a lot of aggression, are really a lot worse than the ones that have been shown. I don't know if I necessarily believe that or not. I think that if there were text messages that were even more violent in their tone or more threatening than the ones that were shown here on the podcast, that they would have been put out there. They would have been given to Rue Rose or to Brian Harrod, and he would have put them out there, right? That's what he does, right? And for some strange reason, Brian Harrod is calling me crazy for saying that the guns, Anthony DiMaggio's guns were removed. And I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm the crazy guy, but they were. That's the fact. So, again, take that page with a grain of salt, as well as the Yonkers Voice. Here, Basement Politics, this is where we, present the true facts on things. And even if we do happen to get it wrong, we'll correct ourselves. But our goal is to get everything right. And so they did take his guns. They felt that he was being threatening again. I guess he has a history of it. And now he's being investigated by the DA. Is it going to go his way? Obviously, the mother of his child wants to keep her gig. And so she's giving him all these text messages that will hurt him. But he doesn't want you to think of her as a piece of shit, right? Let him deal with that. He doesn't want you to focus. In my daughter's mother's defense, I had to repeat my message about Mueller in 3 different text messages and remind her of her obligation to show them to certain people before she finally did. As I told everybody, she isn't a bad woman. So you're saying that basically you had to encourage her to show those text messages so that you can get this investigation, launched into yourself, right? For these threats to a commissioner of the MTA, Metropolitan Authority Police Department, the former police commissioner of the Yonkers Police Department, John Mueller. And will Mimi Rocha look at it that way? Will she say, oh, wait a minute, let's forget about the text messages that you sent threatening Mueller, right? Let's look into your termination. I think that that's more important. That's, relevant, and that overrides anything else. I don't know. I don't think that that's going to happen. I would like to see how that's going to, how you're going to pivot that into an investigation into your termination. Because again, the deal. You know the deal, Anthony. You know how this game goes. You know how the players are, right? I don't got to remind you. And so I don't know. I don't know about that. What else here? Yeah. So that's it right there. Anthony DiMaggio. I don't know. Let's see how that goes for you. I know in the text messages, the texts are the texts. What is there to investigate? Well, I don't know, but they're looking to railroad you, right? As you say, they're looking to do as much harm to you, shut you up, get you out of the way, and so this is just more ammunition, I think, for them. And again, the way the system works here in Yonkers and Westchester County, you have the cards stacked against you, right? The odds are stacked against your state, right? So you're fighting an uphill battle on skates. Again, it's, if this was a perfect world, maybe if things went the way they're supposed to go, right? If people did the job the way they are supposed to do the job, or were, the way we like to think that they are, then maybe I could see that. But, it's a game, and everybody's playing this game to win. Even Mimi Rocha, the Westchester County DA, she wants to get reelected. I'm sure she wants to continue her career, in the public, sector. So she's going to have to play the game the right way, and as you see, most attorneys don't want to go against the city of Yonkers. No real attorney really wants to sue. You've had trouble getting an attorney. And I know some of that was, because of the fact that they took your pension and your pay. But even when you have money, many attorneys just do not want to take on the case. And so, I could see Mimi Rocha saying, well, listen, I got to think about my career moving forward, right? If I do investigate this, what this guy, Anthony DiMaggio, is talking about, that's going to open up a can, and that could lead to, a big, big revelations, right? I guess, a lot of information coming out that maybe people don't want coming out. And so, will she do that? Will she be willing to take that, take that route? Will she say, you know what, I'm going to do what I should do, what I need to do, what's right, or whatever, based on whatever information you present to her, right? If it is information enough for her to warrant an investigation, and she, is she going to go ahead and do that, right? Is she going to do the right thing? right? Or if she's willing to do the right thing, will you have enough information or evidence to show her that she will then say, you know what, I have to look into this as well, right? So that, I just don't know. It's not you or anything that you're doing, or or that I think that you're wrong, or it's not even that. It's just, it's not a level playing field, right? It's not a level playing field, and people are on teams, you know what I mean? And people are on teams. That's just, you know what I mean? Bro, let's just hit the bathroom for a minute, and I'll call you up in a second. How much time we got? Yeah, if you want, and I got a few minutes, I was going to stay on too long, but I just don't see, how that's going to work out for you, because again, people are on teams, people have careers that they are more focused on. And I've talked about this, right, here on the podcast. And so that would mean that Mimi Roca and the DA's office would have to kind of, be willing to go against people that they're cool with, they're friends with, they are on the same team almost, they are on the same side, they work together, they're colleagues, or they help each other out, or however you want to say it, right? When it comes to funding, campaigning and bringing in contributions, donors, she's going to need that, right? And who can help do that, right? So that's who people are she's going to kind of, in my opinion, I will never weigh in on what happens when a relationship between two people who once cared for each other takes a turn for the worse, especially when there is a child involved. I think a great deal in this case involves the seeming manipulation of the clinic involved in these psych evaluations. What happened with canceled appointments, etc. I agree. I think that that's where really you guys should target first, because that could kind of lead to whatever, other things you guys believe, other people that you believe are involved. And like I spoke to another gentleman about this, a couple people about this. I said, you should target the clinic, get lawyers. They'll go after the clinic, target the clinic, sue them, get subpoena power, then start to dig into whatever, you need to dig into to try to connect whatever connections you think you need, are there, right? But use the clinic, go that route, because going through the other route, I think may be difficult. I don't know. So, that clinic definitely needs to be looked at. I mean, what number, brother? Let's chat for a few minutes. All right, let's do 5 minutes. You know my number. Just give me a call. Oh shit, I don't know where my phone is at. I don't know where my phone is at. Try to call me. Let me see if I can answer, if I'll hear it here. Right, my number. But yeah, so I think that's what Joan is saying. Is I think it's I think that's a good point. The devil's in the details, as they say. Yeah, you're right. I agree. I think that's what it should be. But I don't know. I think that was a risky move, and it's only further validating what people are saying, right? So you're saying that you did that just as a strategic move to get an investigation launched, right? Well, do people believe that? Do people believe that that's what happened, or do you believe that Anthony DiMaggio was angry and just was wanting saying what he says? Because Anthony, I think sometimes you are your own worst enemy, and some of the things you say, even when you're not looking to launch an investigation, have one launched by the DA, you're still sending messages or maybe saying certain things that could hurt you, right? That ultimately don't work for you, don't benefit you, that kind of shooting yourself in the foot, because people can twist things. It's all about perception, and you don't want to give people the hammer to say, look, you see what I'm talking about? You may know that it was a joke or whatever, that's how you speak to people or with certain people, but it can be used against you, right? And now you said it, that's what you said, it is what it is, right? And now you're saying things about Mueller, and I think that what you said was to the effect of if the family court who disrupts or causes any disruption to your daughter's life, that you're going to find that man and bury him where he stands, or bury him where you find him. Well, now that's a threat to kill somebody, pretty much, right? So they're going to take that serious, especially when you're talking about commissioner of the MTA police, John Mueller, somebody that you kind of have a volatile relationship with, that you have spoken about negatively. If you watch the podcast, what Anthony has said about him. I don't know. Look, I don't want to tell you what to do, anybody what to do, but I think that it's not going to work for you. Yeah, I didn't bring my phone with me. I don't know why I didn't bring it with me. It's going straight to voicemail. I don't know where my phone is. I can't. Oh Hold on. So yeah, I don't know where my phone's at. Hopefully, maybe my wife can find it for me and bring it downstairs. To me. By the way, my new place out here in New Jersey, it's great. I love it. Hey, having to cross the bridge every day just to come to Yonkers and do my lives. But I came back today, right? Right. I moved all the way to Jersey. I'm no longer in Yonkers, guys. Right. So yeah, I'll send. How about that? I'll send you the link, but let's not be on too quick because too long. Because I want to get off this really quick. Stop sharing here. Invite. So you should have the link in about 2 seconds. Oh. I don't know why. Yeah, there we go. All right, you got the link. Anthony DiMaggio is going to join me for a second, and let's find out. What was he thinking? What was Anthony DiMaggio thinking? What were you thinking, guy? I don't think you should have done that, man. And, how did your family feel also? And I'll ask him about this. How did the family feel? Your dad had to have his guns taken away also, What if he wants to go hunting or something, right? What if now all of a sudden, a burglar comes in, right? You never had a burglar before, but now when the guns are gone, you have a burglar coming into your home, right? You're putting your shorts on. Get your shorts. Come on. You don't need, the one's going to see you below your waist. So yeah, I don't know, folks. What do you think? Come on. Let me know. What do you folks think about Anthony DiMaggio? Do you support Anthony DiMaggio? Do you believe his story? Or do you believe that Anthony DiMaggio is a deranged lunatic who is out of his mind, maybe narcissistic, extremely arrogant, and deserve what he got? Is that what you believe? And I only say that because that's some of the, things that people who don't like Anthony DiMaggio have said, right? I have said, Anthony, sometimes, you gotta, not be so, no, don't worry about it. Thank you. I appreciate it. When we're on the podcast and, you're calling people breadsticks and whatever other name and, the creep face clown, right? I don't know if, people appreciate that, I think that maybe make you look a certain way, right? And then maybe, and I've learned from my own, my own experience and the way I've gone about certain things. And maybe I had to kind of pull back a little bit, and say, I'm not going to, give them what they want, right? They want to see me go crazy and stuff like that. And sometimes, listen, I should go punch them in their face, showing up at my house and stuff like that. And then, but I moved to Jersey, so they can never show up again. They don't know I'm in Jersey. They don't know where I'm at. Anthony DiMaggio, what are you thinking, man?
What's up, brother?
How you doing?
Well, as we've been over on previous podcasts, when they, the reason that they terminate you and they arrange things the way that they do is to discontinue your income so that you can't go out and hire attorneys, right? We've been through that.
Right.
Going out into the market to look for an attorney without a 6-figure income is like going fishing on the hook.
But you're not helping your attorney out when you write text messages.
I don't have an attorney.
Oh, well, if you were to have one or your case, you wouldn't be helping it out by sending these text messages.
Well, no, I don't have a case. Apparently, you speak to 35 different lawyers, and
so you're not suing. You don't have a court case.
It appears as though they beat me in that arena, in that area, trying to get the lawsuit into a courtroom the right way. So, you fill out intake forms for 100 different attorneys. 70 of them don't even respond to you because they see that you've been terminated and you can't pay them. The ones that do respond, if there were 30 of them, I got 30 different stories as to why they didn't want the case. That's usually a sign that they're full of shit. Because if there was a really good reason why they didn't want the case, well, they would some of them would at least be on the same page. That's the way I see it. The way I see it is that they know I got no money.
Well, did you speak to Michael Sussman?
I spoke to Michael Sussman, yeah. Ultimately, he showed some interest in the case. Ultimately, he didn't want it.
Did he not have someone he can recommend? Maybe someone he knows?
He didn't give me any names, no. No.
Well,
he's he saw a lot of potential in the case. He definitely knows how these people work. But ultimately, at the end of the day, man, I don't know if you could see the
Well,
gesture I'm
I
making with my
think that
hand. It comes down to money, brother.
the financial part, I think that you kind of got into a point where now you were able to pay for an attorney. So now it's just what no one wanted to take the case.
No, that's not true. I mean, it's I have savings.
Well, I know you
And,
recently had sold your home, you sold
right,
and then you got some money. So I thought you
but
was
I was in
doing that too.
I was in a ton of debt already. The
I
the
got you.
first the
I
first
know you
scam
don't have
owner.
to talk. I just thought that was the goal of selling
Right,
the
right.
home was to pay for the legal fees.
I mean, you know, yes, but to a degree. Take Mike Cater. How much money has he spent? If you've been reading those articles that have been coming out about him, the city has been forced to reimburse him to the tune of what, $70,000, $80,000. And from what I hear, that's not even the full amount of what he
Well,
spent.
Mike Cater is representing himself. So maybe he's overcharging himself.
I don't think he's representing himself. I mean, the city had to reimburse legal fees. He's not
Yeah,
charging himself $80,000.
his legal fees.
His legal fees that he paid to other attorneys.
I could be
Randolph
wrong, but I believe Mike
Randolph
Cater was.
McLaughlin is it? Randolph McLaughlin
Oh
is Mike
yes,
Cater's
he does
attorney.
have a random. I know there was some where he
Right.
was represent. We have spoke about that. I
So
think he's doing a lot of it though. A lot of the legwork.
the thing is this. So if I have 100 grand in the bank, lawyers will chew through that like nothing before you even get into a courtroom. They'll chew through that in paperwork. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they want to know that you have a steady six-figure income. Like I was making $175,000 a year when this started. That was how I got the attorney
Right.
who initially took my case to take it. They get you to the doctor so that they can use the doctor's report to cut off your pay.
So was
Article
this
72? We've been through all that.
So was this text
point is
message a
that
way of just now getting an investigation so that because now you weren't able to get an attorney to take it to court, to civil court, where you could get an investigation or you could get this out or information that you want to get out? You know what I'm saying?
well,
So
I mean,
was
look,
this like
obviously
your way of
been,
like kind of getting around that about the fact that you can get an attorney and get him in court?
on the list of ways that you would want to go about approaching this. That's obviously not the best. But
Right.
when it appears that they've beaten you in every other way, like in my experience as a cop, there are two ways that an investigation into something gets launched. Either you walk around begging for one, like I've been doing, and the political power of the people who stand to lose a lot if the truth comes out is enormous.
So
So,
you
if
went
I
to
could go to this person, like,
you've gone to the
huh?
Westchester County DA's office. You've spoken with
I
the
haven't.
DA's
I
office,
never went to Mimi. That's a waste of time. It's a waste of time for me to. Mimi only investigates
but I don't
crimes.
understand that though.
She's
What
the
do you mean it's
DA.
a waste of time?
Well,
Because
it's a civil matter because they didn't really commit crimes unless you want to consider, falsifying certain documents to be a crime. But Mimi investigates crimes,
so
and
what would she be investigating now though?
well, what she would be investigating is I don't want to say exactly what I said in the text message. I figure maybe I'll do that at another point. Actually, show the text messages, the things that I said in them. Actually, pulled a couple of lines out of movies. Um, but what she would be investigating is threats against a public official.
No, right. I
You know,
understand that, but I mean, you're saying that when you're in your post that you
right.
said that she's going to investigate the events of February or January to February 2020, right?
Well, that's really all there is to talk about if and when I sit down with an investigator. See, they came and they took the guns, and they obviously must have seen the texts. But there's nothing to investigate there. The texts are the texts. I mean, the only direction an investigation can go in is why do you feel this way about this man? And by the way, if
Well,
there's one
yeah.
thing you've learned, hold on, let me just say, if there's one thing you've learned about me, it's that I'm no idiot. If I actually intended to harm the clown face creep, the last thing I'm going to do is go blabbing about it in text messages, especially to my daughter's mother. You know what I mean? You with me?
But I mean, what I'm saying is that you did this because you were hoping to your goal was to get an investigation into what happened, right?
In my
But
experience as a cop, there are only two ways to get an investigation off the ground. Like I
no, I mean
said,
for you or your investigation into
right.
your problems, right, with Mueller, right? That's what you mean by January and
It's
February 2020.
it's the only way. Yeah, it's the only way it can possibly go.
Okay.
Right. So
So
right, that's it.
so what I was asking is did you so why didn't you go to the DA with that to see if they would launch an investigation before you did it this way?
Because in my experience, that's going to be an enormous waste of time. This is the better way to do it. Believe me. It might sound ridiculous, counterintuitive, whatever, but I need investigators to walk up to my door and hand me a business card like this fella did. Okay. For the first time in 3.5 years since this started, I have the business card of an outside investigator from an outside law enforcement agency at a level of government higher than the city of Yonkers. I never would have gotten that if I didn't go talking crazy in text messages. But now I have it. Got his cell phone number, his email addresses. So game on. You know what I mean?
But you could have went to the DA's office and got that business card. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand.
No, I mean I could have, but there's as long as it's just some disgruntled ex-employee complaining about the way he got terminated, no one's gonna ever pay any attention to it. Now, instead, what it is it's a terminated employee who had a wild report written up about him by some shrink contracted with the department. The shrink said he has homicidal ideation. Homicidal ideation,
Right.
anger issues.
So you're saying that?
Problems
So you're saying
making friends.
that if you had gone up to the DA's office, they would have just disregarded you, not listened to you,
Oh,
kind of
1,000%.
sent you on your way.
1,000%.
But
'Cause I'm
now
not
because you did
even
it this way, they're gonna say, okay, why is this guy angry enough to the point where he's making these threats? And then you can then tell them about what happened, and then they'll have to listen.
I'm pretty sure they already know. But what I'm hoping they're going to do is their job, because in these types of situations, you're effectively obligated to come and interview the person who's making the threats. You have to. I mean, how do you
Right.
not? Here I am. I have this horrible report written about me. Now I'm making threats to harm the sitting police chief of the MTA police department. A high-ranking, high-profile public servant. I mean, shit. How could you not sit down with me for 2 or 3 hours and take notes and record everything that I say? How could you not do that as a serious investigator? What are you going to do? You're just going to take my guns and then just forget about me? I mean, what if I'm planning to do it a different way? Which I'm definitely not. But I mean, this is just a podcast. They can watch it. They can know that I'm playing games in their hearts, in their minds. But as professionals, they're still obligated to take a certain course of action. And that's what I'm hoping is
That
going to
action
happen.
could be against you, where it could be harmful to you.
In what way?
Well, you could something. I don't know the law. I'm not. So I don't know. But obviously, there's something that was said in the text messages that prompted the Westchester County DA's office to come to your home and remove your guns. Because what that's implying is that you present a danger. And
Right.
so, what if
But
the investigation goes negatively, and then you
said it
end
would
up
cost me something? What would it cost me except a couple of shotguns that they already took?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know
the law,
either.
I'm saying.
And that
But
was
I
part
mean,
of the,
it's not gonna. It's not positive. I'm saying it's not a positive outcome for you. I'm saying, whatever that outcome would be.
I mean, listen. If nothing happens, if nothing ever comes out of it, and I didn't get to get into anybody's ear about the realities of this man, then I'll basically be in the same position that I'm in now. Minus 2 shotguns. So it's a free roll, basically. I mean,
well, you don't think that maybe something could be made out of it? If you look at Mike Cater, right? Let's take the Mike Cater, right? What do you think? Do you think Mike Cater is guilty of something?
No, I mean,
in 2 years they've been investigating the guy.
No, I mean, if we're gonna be talking about other people, I think the Spanos investigating somebody else for quid pro quo is pretty ironic.
No. The point I'm making is that you said that there's nothing going on with Cater there, but yet they 2 years he's being investigated. It's caused them a lot of heartache, stress, money. I mean, unfortunately for him, they're having to pay his legal bills. But if you speak to the man, it wasn't an easy 2 years for him and his family, right? So it wasn't a positive outcome for him, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Even though there was nothing there, right? They say, well, there was nothing. This should have never happened to me.
Well, the torment is in the process of losing everything that you already have. So Mike was the city council president when this started. He no longer is. Probably, largely due to that fraudulent investigation that they launched into him. I believe it to be fraudulent anyway. So he's already lost that. He's still an attorney. He's still got, a good career and all that stuff. They've already used the narrative about me to take everything from me that they possibly can. They got my job. They got my kid for a year. They got my reputation. So you know, when I go ahead and I do something like this, I'm aware of the fact that in the immediate aftermath, it's going to add to their narrative about me. And I could just imagine themselves reading these text messages and jumping out of their chair. Oh, he did it. He did it. He validated everything that we did. Look at this. Well, that's in the beginning. Like I said, game on. Let's see where it goes. Because,
So you know
you
that
know,
when the Westchester County Police they came to your home, right, with the DA's office, or was it just the DA's office?
no, there was about 6 of them. They very, very polite, all in plain clothes.
But was
I
it any members of the county police or just DA's office?
I don't really know. I got a business card from one fella. I'm not going to say his name here, but
So
it says investigator from the Westchester County District Attorney's Office.
as a police lieutenant, when another agency is going into another jurisdiction, right, to question or make an arrest or whatever, remove guns in your case as well, what would they have to do first, when going into that other jurisdiction?
No, in this case, nothing, because it's not another jurisdiction. Yonkers falls within Westchester County, and these guys work for the Westchester County DA's office.
But I mean,
these
if there
guys-
were so there would, but I mean, if there were county cops there, you say you don't know.
I don't know I don't know.
If
what
there were county
agencies
cops
or-
there, let's say county cops came along.
I think they were all DA's investigators. I don't really know. I didn't ask them. I did speak to them a little bit. All very polite guys. I mean, it's I've
what
never
I'm saying
seen
is
it.
that what I'm trying to get at is they
Right.
probably reached out to the city to let them know that this was happening, right?
Well,
the
it was
Yonkers
probably. I'm
police.
sure it was the city that reported it to them. It was probably. I'm sure she
Oh.
didn't just go into work and call Mimi Roca's office. She probably went in and did what I told her to do. I said, go show these to Barbado and Carosa and Sapienza and all these hand jobs. I said, go show this to them. You have to. You know what I mean? It's your job. Imagine if I actually acted on this and you never reported it. Of course, I'm not going to act on it. It's just a ploy. But this is what I had to say to her. You know what I mean?
So could this also be you're wasting investigate, false, you're creating a false investigation, you know what I mean? Like when you report a false crime, right? And you just wasted resources and stuff. Right.
That would be a win for me if they decided that these were bullshit threats and that there was no way I was ever going to act on them and decided to charge me with making a false report or whatever. That would be a win. They're not going to do that, believe me.
So Anthony, before I get off, because I'm almost pushing out, what is the goal? What is the goal by doing this? I mean, what do you hope to get out of it? I mean, people would say, why would you, do this? Why would you put yourself in that situation? What's the goal? What's the? I mean, I know what you want, but what specifically with this? What's the goal?
Well, I mean, look, I don't know if you're intent on having me on again. Where I was thinking maybe we would go through the text messages themselves. Talk about some of the things I wanted to talk about, the the series of events that have been going on in my family life. And when I say my family life, I mean her. I mean my daughter's mother and my kid, and the things that have been going on over the last month in the family court that really led to this. Okay, and because every time I have to deal with this family court bullshit, which is over the last month has been frequently, and I can get into why.
Well,
I can't help but think about this. I can't help but think about this man and how he started us off in the family court.
Yes, but I mean, Anthony, like and someone who's been through these false allegations with CPS, and I've had that have to deal with that. That can also affect you. I mean, if they can use that to keep your daughter away from you.
Actually, that's what I was hoping she would do, but she's too smart for that. They're all too smart for that. What I was hoping she would do is go try to show this to the family court judge. Okay. Because the text messages, and you'll see what I'm talking about if and when we show them, it's not just, hey, I'm going to kill this guy. They're long, they're emotional, they're chock full of accusations about him and the department. And then somewhere around the middle of them, I wedge in the magic words that I know are going to get me some attention, right? So if she's going to go show the text, she can't just show the portion where I'm saying the magic words. She has to show the whole thing. And if the judge gets to reading them, it's going to raise her eyebrows. She's going to say, well, what are you talking about? Like, see, up in Dutchess County, the Dutchess County family court judge doesn't give a shit about Mike Spano or Nick Spano or George Latimer or any Westchester politics. She's entirely separate from that. So if she sees something in the text messages that raises her eyebrows, she's going to ask questions, and she doesn't care where it leads. She doesn't care if it leads to problems for John Mueller or the politicians who made him what he is. She doesn't care. So she's gonna ask questions, and my daughter's mother must understand that, because that's why she hasn't, brought them up to the family court. I was hoping that she was going to do that. In
Well,
addition
I don't
to
know if I
bringing them
hope
to
that, Anthony.
whoever else she brought them to.
I don't know if I agree with you there. I hope that, because you have to say, even though you feel that maybe you'll be vindicated when a judge looks at it, there's still a process you're gonna have to go through, and there may be even some time that you won't see your daughter until they fully investigate it. Even if they come to the conclusion that you're
right,
you're hoping that they're saying that you come to, there's still that. And I don't know how I know how much you love your daughter. I know how much you care about her. You're a great father too, and I appreciate that you are. And I always respect and appreciate your fathers. And I don't know how that might make you feel, right? And I just hope that that's not the case, because that could, and there's other individuals like Jose Diaz will tell you, who's been dealing with family courts and how that goes and how these judges are, and so that's what I'm saying. You may be right technically, but when you got variables, that also are at play, that could impact it going negatively towards you, because again, things are not always fair. People have relationships, you don't know what relationships some people may have with judges up in
risky.
Dutchess
There's
County.
No doubt. There's no doubt about it.
And
it's
so,
risky.
That's something I just wonder if you have considered that as well, with the family courts, because that gets crazy there. But again, what will you hope to get out of all this? Because you're taking big gambles here, you're risking a lot here. And what do you want to get? What's the goal?
I don't know if I'm risking a lot, because like I said, they've already gotten me for just about everything that they can possibly get me for. The people in my life who know me, who know the way I am, they know what it is. I don't have to worry about things like that. I don't have to worry about landing a job or losing friends and shit like that. I don't have to worry about that. So I don't think I'm really gambling too much. We'll see. Maybe I am. Maybe I miscalculated. But if I don't do something to force people's eyes open, to take a look at the realities of this sick, demented son of a bitch who did this to my family life, and I deal with it on a daily basis, he is going to do it to somebody else. And he may continue doing it to people for the rest of his life, whether I try or I don't, right? I may fail horribly and he'll still get to keep doing it, but I have to try, because it makes me sick to my stomach that the people who know that he did this, they just went ahead and got him a promotion to a bigger department anyway, as if they didn't know what he was doing. They just don't care. I mean, they're evil, bro.
Well, maybe they just wanted him out of here. Maybe that was the way to get Mueller out of here, because they knew how he was.
Jesus Christ! I mean, talk about a way to get rid of him. I mean, you put him in charge of 1,100 other cops.
However, to get him out of Yonkers, right? So that he, may not do some of the things that you said he's done. And
desperate times call for desperate measures, brother. So,
well, one thing is, so it sounds like you're looking to stick it to Mueller more than you're looking for an outcome for you. That you
no.
To get your pension back, right, and things like that.
No.
That's
to get the outcome that for me would be, look what he did, understand what he did, and to recognize it and to spread the word. Okay, even if you don't, Mimi's never going to come out and say, "Oh, look what we found when we looked into this." Standing at the podium, that's never going to happen. I'm not delusional. But if I can get the word out and people can start talking about him, okay, when people become aware of a threat, it becomes much less threatening, right? That's why you put out a ball or be on the lookout.
But I'm saying is that the outcome? There's nothing else? There's no other. I don't say reward or
I would consider that an enormous win.
Because you're risking the risk to reward doesn't make sense to me, right? Because for me, the risk is your family. I think you could jeopardize your relation with your daughter. You know what I mean?
No, I don't think so. I don't think having.
I mean, there was that time that you didn't get to see her for that extended period of time. That
was his doing. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. I mean,
right. And so now you're going after him. Now, do you think that he may not do something that can cause? Because that's your Achilles heel, right? That's where they know you've already put that out there, so they know that's your Achilles heel. That's where they could put pressure on you. Said on the mother of your daughter, the mother, your daughter's mother, right? They'll put pressure on her to go that route. Then they could hurt you to, even if it's just to say, hey, back up. Like, you want to go with this thing, we're going to do this, right? That's your loss. Your reward is that you let people know about Mueller. That you know what I mean? It doesn't make sense that, I'm not going to risk this to gain that. You know what I mean? It's like you're
You know,
risking gold just to get a piece of bronze or silver.
That's maybe the smallest prize that I'm hoping for. Maybe I'm hoping it could be something bigger. I'm not really sure, but I got to do something because my family life, especially over the last month, we were arguing about vacations and things, and she's saying things to me that she never would have said. He turned my life, my co-parenting relationship with my kid's mother, he turned it into a competition, and that's what
But
kills
did
me.
he,
Because
Anthony? But did he?
yes, he
Because
did.
you were
He did,
having,
absolutely.
but you were having some of these issues before, prior to, right? So some of the text messages that she gave to them were messages that you were texting to her prior to you being terminated and this happening.
Yeah, but they were bullshit. They were nothing like the ones that I'll show you on Friday night if you want to do a podcast. The ones about Mueller, those will raise
Right,
eyebrows.
no,
The other ones were nonsense.
no, I get it. But the point I'm saying is
Right.
that there was that volatility there, right? There was that back and forth
Oh, always,
constantly.
yeah.
So he didn't
No,
necessarily do that.
no. We always fought and probably always would. But when it came to our daughter, we always cooperated. We didn't fight about things like that. You know what I mean? It's everything. It's a daily
So
struggle.
how did Mueller make it now about your daughter when you guys fight?
Because when you put a family in the family court, right? All of a sudden, both sides, they start calculating, right? It's a competition. What happens if I do this and he does that, or I make this decision and he makes that decision? What could happen? And it just turns into a chess game, right? And now you're constantly fighting over things that you would have never fought over before because no one was watching, because you weren't competing over each other. You weren't competing over the kid. You know what I mean? She was a cooperation, our daughter.
But I think
She
that's
wasn't a
something
competition.
I think that's something, Anthony, that you and the mother, have to really work out. And I don't know if that has anything to do with Mueller necessarily, right? And I think Mueller's over at the MTA doing what he does. And I'm not saying that, who he is isn't who you say he is, right? I'm not saying that. But I think at this point, I think Mueller is doing his thing. And I think maybe the impacts of going through this, the both of you, has created additional stress and, additional feuding, right? But I think that that's something ultimately you and her have to work out. Going after Mueller is not going to fix that between the two of you.
I can't forget how it started. You know what I mean?
But you have to. You have to, for now, for the sake of you
the
and
evidence,
your the mother of your child and your daughter and that relationship, right? What's more important, right? What's more important to you? And this is where I'm at here with myself.
There's also the factor of he'll keep doing it.
But that's not your concern.
But it is my concern. I don't feel the need to let the guy get a pass so that he can keep doing this shit to other people. You know what I mean? I went to war with the guy for a reason. I refused to sign certain things for a reason, because this guy is evil and he needs to be stopped. Okay.
And I think that, and this is the thing with the podcast, I think that you have put it out there to people. I don't know how any other way you can put it out there. I think that you have already. And I think those that are, gonna get it, got it. Those that are not getting it for whatever reason, don't want to get it or just don't understand fully, are gonna be there, and you can continue to do it. But I think that right now, I think your focus should be repairing the relationship with your daughter's mother, and trying to bring some peace there where you guys don't have these disputes over, little things like that. You know what I mean? And get to a point where you're, strong there, because I think you're adding more stress when you already have that stress there. You know what I mean? Because if there was a goal and let's say, okay, well, by doing this, I'm going to get my pension back, which is what I need. I need to, support myself. I need to pay my bills. I need to take care of my daughter, and this is very important. But if it's just about bringing awareness to more people and just highlighting who Mueller is, I think you're wasting energy doing that when you have this situation here with the mother of your child to focus on. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is, it appears as though I'm not going to be getting any, I'm making any progress in that arena anytime soon.
With the pension?
No, with the family court, and that's when someone on the outside, someone who you work for, a boss, pulls the pin on a grenade and throws it into your family life, and does it for his own sick, twisted purposes. That's a very, very difficult thing to forget about.
No,
especially when you're dealing with it on a daily basis, and you have many, many more years of dealing with it on a daily basis. You know what I mean? I decided that enough is enough. If I can't get the facts into the courtroom, I need to get the courtroom to come to me. And maybe it'll fall flat. Maybe I will have completely failed. like an idiot, but I'm going to take the chance.
But that's what I'm saying when you say
now.
bring the courtroom to you. But what would be the outcome of that?
You know, maybe documents. You know, documents written up by the investigator that acknowledge that this man actually did this, or that it seems like he really did it. You know,
and then what's going to
documents
happen?
like so. Well, I don't know that. You know, then we'll have to take it from there. But step one is getting people to acknowledge it. Then we'll see how we use it afterwards. You know, you can't plan out every stage of a war. You know, ahead of time. You have to get an idea.
No,
of the
I get it. You
direction
know,
that you want to go.
you have uncertainty. You have things that you know. Obviously, things don't go as you plan, right? You could paint a pretty picnic, but you can't predict the weather. You know what I mean? But you can, for the most part, and that's what I like to say, plan it out, and then at least you have a foundation of if something does go wrong, and I think you have to look at least past that step as well, right? What then? Is he going to get prosecuted? Like, I think the biggest things for you is your daughter and working out that with your mom. And if you can go after getting your pension back so you can get your money there, that. And outside of that,
maybe I'm thinking maybe, you know, getting an investigator down here to recognize what he did might help me up there. You know, maybe that's what I'm hoping for. Because what's going on in the family court is a fraud, a disgusting fraud.
Well,
and it's one that's going to continue for as long as she's under the thumb of that camp. John Mueller, the politicians who appointed him,
well,
have a lot, you know, I mean, so it's going to continue. So
that's
as
why
long as it's going to continue, I'm going to continue to fight, you know.
That's why I said you really have to work on, I think the best thing is building your relationship back up with the mother of your child, making that strong. So at least he doesn't have that whatever effect he has on your family, you know, unless of course you go off the rails. But if you're just not mentioning him, focusing on just your daughter and communicating about that moving forward, I don't think that that's gonna be an impact. I don't think it's gonna be an issue in your, you know what I mean? That the guy's not gonna be here nor there. You see what I'm saying? And so for me, also,
I disagree. I think it will have an impact. So we'll see if I'm right. Only time will tell. You know.
Well, Anthony, you know, you're moving this way. You look very, you know, like you still look like you holding a grudge, right? This is how you appear. You're holding a grudge.
Oh, I'm definitely holding a grudge. Yeah.
Okay. Well, but you're angry, right? And who's to say that maybe eventually you don't get what you want, and that could lead to you becoming more angry, right? And you know, maybe doing something that you're saying you're not going to do, but you get to a point because it doesn't seem like you want to let it go, right? You know, you like my wife says, a dog on a bone. You know, you don't want to let it go, and so and it obviously is upset you're holding a grudge. So I mean, as an investigator, people looking at now these text messages might say, well, this guy could progress right to that point because he wants to get this guy back.
I mean, you know, I think by now people should realize that that's not the way I do things. What I'm gonna do,
but not people don't. Not everyone does, you know. And this is what I'm telling you. There are people that will say, and I'm not talking about in City Hall. I'm not talking about Vincent Span, or I promise you not. I'm talking about other individuals, not even officials, or you know, people who follow politics, but they're not in the government, who say that you know you may, you know, from what they heard that you know there's some messages and some things that you've done that show these signs of aggression, you know, aggressive behavior, you know, and maybe violent behavior, right? So, you know,
but what of it? So what if people talk that way? What does it matter to me?
Well, because what I'm saying, it does matter to you because it builds this, you know, this perception of who you are, right? You're an angry, aggressive individual who may fly off the handle, right? And who may do something, who may get violent because you know, he may not be getting what he wants, right? And I'm just saying, so you don't want all that to kind of be how you're painted, right? The perception. And then now you got this family court thing. And then, you know, they could use that in the family court and say, listen, judge, I don't know if I want my daughter to spend, you know, this time with her dad. I mean, he's showing signs of, you know, being, you know, kind of maybe aggressive and wanting this revenge against this creep, you know, and then you're using words like creepy clown, creep face clown, right? It just, the psychology of it, you just have to understand it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and even if you're right, like you're not gonna do nothing, you're totally harmless. But even still, just say to yourself, you know what, maybe I should not do that because it could still be twisted. You know what I mean? It could totally be twisted. And if you got enough individuals that are in certain positions, whether it be the judge, you know, police officers, investigators that are aligned against you, they'll twist it and they'll roll with that. And who's going to say it's not true?
What they've been doing, brother.
Yeah, but how far do you want it to go? You know what I'm saying is, you know,
Well,
maybe you got to, you stop at this point and focus on your daughter. You know what I mean? I think that's where your energy should really be, man. I think that's what it is. And that's kind of why with the show too, that's kind of where my energy is kind of focused. I got some things that I'm working on, God willing, for September, you know, and,
Well,
you know, there's certain, you know, for me, like I'm a type of person that, you know, I build relationships. I like certain people. I get along with them. You know what I mean? And then so, you know, I try to stay out of certain things. You know what I'm saying? And it gets to a point where if certain individuals are being affected by things that I may be doing, whether intentionally or unintentionally, well, usually unintentionally, then I'll stop because I don't know. But if I'm doing intentionally, is one thing, but unintentionally or indirectly, then, you know, I gotta, you know, say, you know what, let me not be there because it will cause problems. I don't need people. Look, they got people coming to my house taking pictures, right? So I'm trying not to get people to be digging into things so they could, you know, delay me, stop my progress, you know, because I got people out there, strangers, that are like saying they're happy that I failed, that I'm a failure and that my business closed and you failed. Like, it's so funny because they don't even know me. But this is what they're doing. They're wishing me to fail. So I don't need to, you know, I have a target on my back. You know what I mean? So for me, I'm trying to limit that the darts that come at me, right?
Who do you have a target on your back from? Harrod?
Everybody, huh? No, well, Harrod does that because he's told to do that, right? I don't know the guy. The guy doesn't know me. There's no reason why he should be attacking me, but obviously there's people out there, you know. And he was defending you today, actually, for whatever reason. He was saying that, you know, I'm crazy for saying that the guns were removed, but he was wrong. The guy, once again, he's wrong. They continue, but this is what I mean, that they'll paint whatever narrative and people will believe it because people believe some of the things that they've said about me. They still believe that shit. You know what I mean? And so you don't, you know, want to continue. You don't want to help them paint that narrative, right? By giving them certain things. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
right? That's why I've had to pull back. You know, even when I do my podcast, try not to get so excited because then people, oh, the guy's, you know, he might be crazy or he might be this, you know, and you got people looking to make you look bad.
What I'm banking on is that I'm, in the short run, in the immediate aftermath of all this, I knew I would be reinforcing some of the things that they're saying about me. I'm not an idiot. I knew that. But what I'm planning on here is for the long run. In the long run, the truth comes out. I always believe that if people are willing to see it,
right?
You know?
Well, I hope that it works out for you, Anthony. You know what I'm saying? And definitely we'll have you back on and stuff like that. But I think what you're doing is great. I mean, with the podcast, I know Ron Matten has a podcast. He's got his first episode on July 27th, right? And, you know, I think that more people are doing, as you said, but I think it's a good thing that you do that too. That way you can kind of, you know, do it as you need to and at your pace, you know what I mean? And be able to put the information that needs to be put out. Yeah, because I think people want to know. But you know, so I gotta focus on, and even me, I'm gonna actually stop doing a podcast every day. And I've actually been doing that. I skip a day because I'm actually trying to focus on. I got some good opportunities, you know what I mean? I'm trying to be a bridge. Like I'm trying to be a uniter, right? For me, I don't have a personal issue with anybody, right? I'm not looking to take anybody down unless they're trying to take me down. In that case, then we go to war. But other than that, you know, if you leave me alone, I'll leave you alone. That's how I am. You know what I'm saying? So that's basically what I'm saying. Trying to leave certain people alone. I want them to leave me alone, which is why I was surprised these guys were doing what they were doing, coming to the house the other day, taking pictures and stuff. Right. So I don't know why, when I was trying to just be chill. So that's why I did my podcast on these guys and I went hard on them, and hopefully they'll. So, you know what I mean? I got to focus on these things. You know, so hopefully
be on the lookout for the Unfit LT podcast. It's going to be starting up soon.
Anthony DiMaggio, the Unfit LT, former Yonkers police lieutenant, 15 years on the job. You had a flawless record. Even Mueller, the guy that, you know, your arch nemesis, even gave you a great recommendation, wrote nice things about you, and things changed, right? So
real quick, I'll tell you just a real quick story before we go off, right? So right before they fired me, you know, my father was kind of scrambling, doing everything he could, trying to make phone calls to see if we could work this out and trying to work back channels and things like that. And he was in contact with Mike Hanley a couple of times. And one day he said to Mike Hanley, listen, I've spoken to Lenny. I can't seem to get anywhere. Do me a favor. Have have Johnny call me, right? He was talking about Lenny Spano and Johnny Spano, the two guys who I said really run the department. And my father knows that too. So he said, look, ask Johnny to call me. Would you do that for me, Mike? Mike said, sure, no problem. A couple hours later, my father's phone rings. It's John Muller. John Muller. My father said Johnny. He meant Johnny Spano.
Oh.
He's got this ass hat calling my father, right?
Well, I mean, John Muller was the commissioner, right? I mean, I guess that's the guy who would deal with it.
He was the commissioner, but he also knew that I had him caught red-handed. So I can't imagine him, mumbling in front of the bathroom mirror at practice and trying to talk to my father. I mean, I know how the guy is. So he gets on the phone and he says, Sal, Anthony, he's got to know because by this point I had already submitted to the city the flash drive, the one that I keep talking about with everything on it.
Right.
So this guy knows that I know what he did. He knows it. Okay. His first words out of his mouth to my father on the phone were, Anthony's got to know I'm not his enemy. Well,
he's not your enemy.
I'll tell you what, John. That's not really up to him. That's up to me. And
Anthony,
although I'm definitely not going to hurt the guy because I'm not a violent person, he's my enemy, and I will be up his ass for the remainder of my days.
You gotta just chill with the text messages. I just think that it could backfire and you could lose certain things that I think that you value very much. That's all I'm saying. Just consider that. Don't let Mueller be that guy that's tormenting you forever. You know what I mean? Don't do that.
It's not just that he's in my head; it's that I deal with it in the family court. Right? And
we'll try to work that out there, without thinking about
the evidence that he's the one who put us there is incontrovertible, and that's what I'm trying to get somebody at the DA's office to look at. I'm not just some disgruntled employee babbling. I'm coming in with just stories. I have hard evidence, and nobody wants to look at it. Hopefully somebody will.
You have the odds stacked against you. Anthony DiMaggio, right. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for joining me. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics. I'm going to get up out of here.
All right, brother.
Take care. That was Anthony DiMaggio. I don't know. I hope that, he'll find some resolution. Like I said, I think that, his biggest focus should be his daughter, right? His building the relationship with the mother of his child and working that out. So there isn't that, tension, that back and forth there. It's not good for anyone, right? Mueller, listen, you got to forget about the guy. He's not here nor there, but if you're sending these type of text messages, you're going to reinvite this guy into your world and it could backfire, right? And I know with the family courts, it's serious that, they can use any little thing to keep you away from your kids. And, as someone who loves his kids very much, that's horrible. That's a horrible thing to have to go through, so, hopefully Anthony DiMaggio will, kind of focus on that, because I would hate for Mueller to be in his head so much that he, because I get it, man. I get it. There's been times and I've had to learn not to react, just let it go. That's why I don't even respond to Brian's stuff anymore. Just kind of, I want it to go and I react and I go do something and I'm locked up and that's it, right? And now I mess myself up and then I don't have a leg to stand on and I'm looking exactly like they say I am. And I can't say, no, I was just upset and try to sit there and explain. Nobody wants to hear an explanation. Nobody wants to hear an excuse. Even if you're legit, they don't want to hear it. So you got to just not do it, right? That's it. And we'll play the game, Brian. That's it. Folks, I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered, the place where truth lives and corruption dies. There's a lot of things that I'm working on for this coming school year. Those that wish me to fail. And that's so sad that we have individuals out there that actually saying that they're happy that I failed. I don't know who they are. Why are we like this towards each other? Why are we so mean and nasty towards each other? Towards a stranger. You're wishing that his business failed. That means that people are out of a job. That means that families are not being provided services that they were being provided. It's not just about Freddie Vasquez. At the end of the day, girl, Freddie Vasquez is going to be good, even if my business never opens back up. That's what you don't understand. And maybe that's where the anger comes from. But we have to be united. All right. We have to be united, especially, the blacks and Latinos. We got to stop being crabs in a bucket. We have to stop being crabs in a bucket. We need to be more united. We're we're not going to get anywhere. We're not going to get anywhere competing with each other or having individuals keep us divided and keep us competing with each other. That's never going to work. Never going to work. We have to come together. And I've been reaching out to people. I've always been the guy that's wanted to connect with people. They can say what they want about me, but I've always been the guy that's reached out, that's called people, that said, hey, let's get together and make it bigger. And for whatever reason, people don't reach back. People may reach back, but then don't commit, and so I don't understand. I don't know what's the deal. You're right. We all have a lot to offer, but together we can do so much more. And so look forward to Freddie Vasquez this September, God willing. I'm praying on it. Hopefully things go well. I'm looking for a positive, direction now, a path where I think that a lot of us could really be, in a good place, right? Instead of fighting, competing or whatever, like I said, I never wanted to go after anybody, see anyone go to jail, see anyone. That's never been my key. I just don't want to be messed with. Don't mess with me. I'm not going to mess with you, right? And I was definitely being messed with. Some people really held grudges. Some people are still holding grudges. Right? Petty stuff, really. It's petty stuff, right? They've done so much more to me, and they're still holding grudges. It's petty stuff. So God willing, I'll be moving forward, and so God bless you. Have a beautiful week. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics. Make sure you share the podcast. Check out Ron Matten's podcast, July 27th. Ron Matten, Unapologetic, Unaffiliated, or is it Unaffiliated and Unapologetic? He's going to be doing his things. Freddie Vasquez, I guess, is, I'll let you guys go nuts. Anthony DiMaggio also have his. I'll continue to bring you information that's important, continue to educate you folks, and let's see what happens. Anyway, have a beautiful day. I'm up out of here. Beautiful week. Take care. Make sure you share the podcast. Share the podcast. Share the podcast. Shout out to my peoples out there in vacation land, over there. Enjoying the beach, the water. Getting stuck on sandbars. Hopefully they get that out. They get that boat out. Poor guy. Must be new to the area. Got his boat stuck on the sandbar. Hopefully the tide came in and the boat was able to be free. So shout out to my people. Let's make big things happen. Let's make it happen. I look forward to it.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
Basement Politics with my dad, Freddie Vasquez. You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddie Vasquez.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
Thank you for watching Basement Politics with my husband, Freddie Vasquez.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
By the way, my wife has not left me. She actually moved with me to New Jersey, Brian. She moved with me to Jersey. We're living on the Palisades Mountain, overlooking the Hudson River, and we can see the pier, the Yonkers Pier, X2O. It's a beautiful view, Brian. You got to check it out. Maui, please, I don't want to see you around my new neighborhood taking pictures again, all right? All right, Maui? Don't ever do that again. Who put you up to it? Who put you up to it, Maui? That ain't who you are. Right, you're a very timid, scared individual. I can tell by the way you almost crashed trying to get away from me. You know me. I wasn't gonna hurt you, Maui. But anyway, don't come by my new place in Jersey. I don't want to see anybody there taking pictures, but I will be watching you from the Palisades Mountains.
Freddie wins.
Shout out to Ron's Moving.
Fatality.
They're the ones that actually moved me. It wasn't U-Haul.
Freddie
Done.
wins.
If you're moving
Fatality.
anywhere in the United States, check out Ron's Moving and Trucking. I've used them every time, including this recent time when I just moved out to Jersey. So I'm here in Jersey.
Freddie wins.
I'm gonna go tomorrow to change my license.
Freddie
Yo, Rue, don't send no one to my house. Okay? Game over, Rue Rose. Game over. And it's foul what it's foul what you're doing to that family, Rue Rose. You go and cover their event at the family services, the protest at DSS, and then you won't let anyone comment on it. You're letting only the people who are commenting negatively about them and their protests. And those people that are commenting negatively are probably minions that they have to do this, right? There's a group of individuals. Those are probably the same people that are wishing me all this, that I don't even know these people, right? Although I know now, some of them, I know where you work. I've been to your job. I've been to your job. I looked you in the face. I looked you in the face. You thought I didn't know who you were. Why do you think I even went there? I don't even use that bank like that. Don't play with me. And watch out for that pedophile in the blue Caprice. I heard there was an attempted kidnapping from individuals that reached out to us. A man in a blue Caprice with an Asian woman who he's using to lure children. That's what I'm getting from sources, unconfirmed reports. Just if you see a old blue Caprice, stay away from it. All right, stay away from that. Just want to let you guys know that. So, Ruros, that's real messed up what you're doing to that family. You went and covered it, and then you are having your minions write negative things about them. You're a horrible, disgusting man, and I can't wait till you're canceled. You're going to get canceled, and that's going to be my job. So say what you want. Your lies won't last. My truths will. The truth of you being a pedophile has lasted since 94, 95, when you admitted to touching and kissing an underage girl, the daughter of people you knew, you sick fuck.
Freddy wins. Fatality.
You will go to hell for that. You will end up in hell. Say what you want about me and my wife, but you couldn't hold a candle to us. You sick fuck.
Freddy.
You're going to hell.
Fatality.
You are going to hell, you roast. And your wife should leave your ass. Find a new trick.
Freddy wins. Fatality.
You think you're going to defeat me?